Example 1, solving a multi-step equation. Now a multi-step equation is that requires multiple steps to solve here. We've got x in two spots. You want to solve for x, right? And as you can see, you got to do the distributive property. You got to combine like terms. You got to combine more like terms. And eventually, yay, you do get a solution for x. X is equal to -1. Now, if you're thinking that the calculator is going to show you all these little steps, I'm sorry, it won't. You just put in the top line here, you put in the left side of the equals, the right side of the equals, hit the solve, and bam, you'll get -1. All right, well, let's see how that works on the calculator. Okay, so here is the TI-84 Plus Color Edition. This is the keypad only, and here's what the screen looks like. Now, the stuff here on the top, this junk, you don't have to worry about that. That's not important. To access the solver, it's kind of hidden. You'll find it by pressing the Math key, and then you've got your submenus, Math, Num, Complex, and so on. It's at the very bottom here, kind of hidden. It's past number 9, and here we go. It's, whoops, going back. There we go. It's at the very bottom, B, solver. So you make sure that's selected, you hit enter, and here you've got your equation solver. Okay, so put in the equation, the left side of it, and it goes like this. Let's see. Oh yeah. 5 parentheses. Now, how do you put in the x? Here's how you put in the x. It's the key marked with an x, comma t, comma theta, comma n. It's right next to the alpha key on the keypad. One press of that will put in an x. Now, yeah, I know it's capital X. That's all they got for this. So just kind of roll with it. And here I put in the rest of the equation, plus 2 parentheses 1 minus x. Okay, and this is where you stop because then you have that equal sign. Use the downward directional arrow key and we'll put in 14. Okay, now you hit graph. And you might have an answer here for x. That's not it, okay? What you need to do to get the answer is to put the little cursor next to the x down here and then press on the keypad the alpha key followed by the enter key. And after you do that, you'll see this nice little box here next to the x. That means that that's the solution. Yeah. Now, as you notice, sometimes you get round off error. -1.000001, okay? Sometimes that can occur. That's the limitations of the internal digital circuitry of the calculator. So just kind of in your head, you can round it up to, or round it down to -1. Okay, so you might be thinking at this moment, oh my gosh, my problems are solved. I will breeze through my algebra course. This does it all. Well, not so fast. There's limitations that you need to be aware of, and I'm going to show you those right now. Okay, so here's one of the first of the limitations. You might have an equation that looks like this. X squared minus x minus 20 is equal to 0. This is an example of a quadratic equation, and quadratic equations, because they are to the power 2, could have as many as 2 answers that are both right. So how does the calculator handle this? Let's take a look. Okay, we'll bring things back. And then to put in a new equation, press the upward directional arrow key, and then you can re-edit what you've got. Okay, so it was x squared minus x minus 20, downward key, and we'll change that 14. I'll hit clear to clear it all the way out. 0. And okay. All right, so there we've got our equation in. Let's hit alpha enter, and it kind of solves it here, -3.99. Once again, this is round off error due to the internal circuitry of the calculator. So that is -4. Yeah, that was one of them. But where's the 5? Okay, well let's see what we can do here. The bound is two numbers, the lower bound and the upper bound, and we can tell the calculator, hey, I only want you to check the positive numbers because, the other answer is 5. So we can go down here. You can actually edit this. Hit the delete key a few times. Clear that out. Put in a 0. So now the bound that we're checking is essentially all positive numbers from 0 up to gigantic number right there. So I'm going to replace the cursor back on X. I'm going to hit alpha, enter, and whoops, bad guess. Okay, I don't know why it didn't find the 5, but it didn't. And it should have, but it didn't. And so you might be led to think that there's only one answer, when in fact there's two. So this is one of the limitations of the calculator you need to know about. Bad guess. Yeah, whatever. All right, here's two more examples. Absolute value equations. You could get a no solution here. There is no number you can put in for x where it would take the absolute value of it and be -3. And also this equation with no solutions, x equals x plus 1. I know it might look reasonable at first glance, but there's no solution to this one either. Let's see how the calculator handles this. Okay, so here we brought it back. We're going to go to second option, go to, and we're going to edit our equation here. We're going to put in that absolute value equation. Press the math key. Go to num by pressing the right arrow key, and then it's number 1 here. ABS means absolute value. So there, we've got some nice little straight lines on either side. Absolute value x and -3. Notice I pressed the little negative button here at the very bottom of the keypad. That's the negative symbol. Over here is the subtraction symbol. They look the same, but they are different. If you use the subtraction symbol here, it'll give you an error. Okay, let's give it a try. Alpha, enter. No sign change. In other words, there is no number. It checked them all, supposedly. All right, how about that other one? Here, go to, and let's put in that ridiculous equation where we said x is equal to x plus 1. That's 1. Okay, there we go. And all right, let's try it. Let's see what happens. This might boggle your mind. Alpha, enter. Okay, now it did produce an answer, but this is not the real answer. The real answer is that this doesn't have a solution for x, and yet the calculator found it. You got to be aware of how there might be problems in the digital circuitry where it's comparing, it's using its little algorithmic processes in the little chip of silicon, and it's comparing numbers. I'm thinking what happened here is that when it was comparing x to x plus 1, it lost the accuracy somehow with this last digit, and it just kind of thought that they were the same number. Weird. All right, one final bit. Using the solver on the TI-84 Plus. If you've got a calculator that looks like this, then this is for you. The equation solver looks a little bit different, and there's one little piece of work you got to do before you put in equations and get to solving them. So this is the first example that we had here in the video, if you look back about 7 minutes. In order to put this into the TI-84 Plus, the kind that does not have color screens, the older kind, you got to subtract 14 from both sides. How come? So we have a 0 right here. We need it to be equal to 0. It must be in terms of 0. All of this garbage here we can put in, and then it'll work. So let's take a look at that. Okay, and so here we go. This is the TI-84 Plus, the old kind that does not have a color screen. You find the solver the same way. Press the math key, and then you go down to the very last one. And there it is. Okay, let's put it in. Now, I'm going to do this kind of fast. Okay, so I've almost got it in. Plus 2 parentheses 1 minus x, and I gotta subtract at 14. That's the only little piece of work that I had to do to put this in the solver. But in other regards, it's the same. So pressing alpha, enter, and we get -1. So it works just the same way. But it's got to be in terms of 0. That's the only downer. All right.